Hey guys, here's some helpful hints for 1.3, numbers 57 through 68. And I'm actually going to skip 57 because it's in the back and you can kind of see how that one goes. So we're going to look right to 58. And 58 says the limit of 3, 1 minus cosine x all over x. And that's the limit as x approaches 0. So this whole thing right here, if you go back in your book, that's one of those special trig limits that's on page 62. So that means we can just say that thing really equals 0. And so 3 times 0 is going to equal 0. So it's a limit as 3 times 0 as x approaches 0. So that's going to be 0, all right? Because this whole thing is one of those special trig functions, all right? So there's 58. 59, secant theta minus 1. Oh, so we say limit as x approaches 0 of secant theta minus 1 all over secant theta. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of divide everything in the numerator by secant theta. It's kind of a little cheap way of simplifying this, but that's kind of the way that I see this as being the easiest, because I want to be able to divide secant theta by secant theta. So that's what I'm looking for, is what can I pull out in front to cancel them out. So that this is going to be the limit as x approaches 0 of, I'm going to divide secant theta out, and I'm left with 1 minus 1 over secant theta all over secant theta, right? These cancel out. There we go, right? So we can say that's the limit as x approaches 0 of 1 minus 1 over secant theta is the same as 1 minus cosine theta. We're not dividing by anything, so we don't have to worry about it. So we can just plug in the 0 now, and you'll get your answer for number 59. Now, if we go on to number 60, if we look at this, it just says cosine theta, tan theta. So I'm just going to say cosine theta, tan theta. And that's going to be all over theta. So we say the limit as theta approaches 0. I'm going to rewrite tan as sine over cosine theta. Theta, we have this times cosine theta all over theta. So I just redid the tangent theta. Cosine, cosine cancel out, and we're left with sine theta over theta. And that is another one of those special things on page 62 that equals 1. So there you go for number 60. Then we go to 61. 61, we got sine squared x over x. 61 is a lot very similar to that same type of thing where we're talking about that special thing from the special trig function. So we're going to end up with sine x over x. And really all we're doing is changing sine x to sine x times sine x all over that. This part is going to be that 1, and then we can evaluate the limit as x approaches 0 on this one for sine x. So all we have to do is say this is the limit as x approaches 0 of sine x. This thing just turns to 1. So it's just kind of being able to factor and move some stuff around. All right, 62. Tangent theta, tangent squared x over x. So we can say, what I would say to do is tangent squared theta or x is going to equal sine squared x over cosine squared x. All right, so we have that whole thing all over x, right? That's the original part, so I just replaced that whole thing. And now we can say that this is the same as sine squared x over x cosine x. Okay, so now we have sine squared x. Now we can do exactly what we did on this last one. We can say this is going to be sine x all over x, and that should be cosine squared x. I didn't put that cosine squared in there. It should be. This whole thing is going to just be 1 when we take the limit as x approaches 0. And then we take sine x over cosine squared x, and then we'll have our answer. Now for number 63, the limit as h approaches 0 of 1 minus cosine h squared over h. All we're really going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to split this up to be the limit as h approaches 0 of 1 minus cosine h over h times 1 minus cosine h. This part is another, oh, that's a terrible looking h, I'm sorry. That's a really, I'm not doing any better with this h either. We're just going to say that's an h. Very good, looks perfect, yeah. So this whole thing you know is going to equal 0. So it's going to be 0 times something, I'm guessing the limit is going to equal to 0. All right. So there you go with some of these. I think that's pretty much all you're really going to need. Just check some of those things out. If you need to change some of your secants to 1 over cosines and stuff like that, you could. Otherwise, we'll do a couple extra questions if you have them a little bit later on. Okay, so there you go. That is those questions you had, some from number 57 to 68.